two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners. I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
And I'll be giving you guys the insider secrets to take your trades business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast.
In today's episode, we're going to be diving into the concept of downselling. We will cover everything from when to use this approach, the psychology of your customers, successful strategies, and actionable tips to apply to your business, and also why it's an important tool to have in your arsenal. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it. All right.
Downselling. Okay.
Downselling ethically. So you don't come up as a slimy person that's trying to screw people over for money. So what does it mean, downselling ethically? Give us your own definition, Karmelo.
So first of all, downselling is the act of offering, let's say, the customer a lower price or alternative product or service from the primary one that you offer them. But you always have to either take something or ask them to do something for you. So that way it's not like, oh, this guy originally charged me this, but now he's like, okay, I'm going to charge you this less just to get it done. That's what I think you say it means ethically.
All right, so we'll give you guys the definition. What's the concept of downselling? A strategic approach to sales that focuses on offering a lower price or on an alternative product service when the primary offering may not be the best fit for the customer. So let's say Karmelo is going to be my target customer today, and then I'm going to be his customer. So we're going to role play a little bit. So let's say I quoted Karmelo's exterior for $10,000. And I'm sure you guys listened to the previous episode, which we gave you our 10-step sales process. So we give our customer options. We're not going there and just offering one price. Because that way we're trying to grasp and price condition the customer to understand where their budget or what they're trying to spend. So once I give Karmelo the prices for his exterior, I'll give him 3 to 4 prices. And then Karmelo, the most common objections that we get from our customers, they'll be like, okay, oh, wow, that's too expensive.
Yeah, I'm looking at the silver package, but because I'm going to be staying here for a while, but I think it's a little bit too expensive for me.
So when Karmelo or my customer gives me that objection, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to get defensive, first of all, because a lot of people are like, oh, what do you mean it's too expensive? You don't understand how much it costs to be a good painter. Don't be like that.
You don't know how much I do for this company.
Do not get defensive when customer give you price objections. So what I'm going to do, like my number one question, which I ask is, all right, Karmelo, what do you think that is? And I let the customer talk. They always have to say something. Most common objections be like, oh, I got 3 other quotes and they're like, they were way cheaper. Why you're so different? Or I'm not trying to spend that much, or I cannot justify the price. So always ask that question. Why do you think that is? And then that's when the chain reaction will start, and then the process of downselling will begin. So once Karmelo gives his objection, he'll be like, okay, why are you so freaking expensive?
So the most common thing I've heard is, well, this guy's doing it for this much, but he only does one prime coat and
That's
one top
Karmelo's
coat.
customer's voice.
So that's my customer voice. I need to sound different.
Why do you sound like a truck driver?
I don't know. So yeah,
Okay.
he said one prime coat and one top coat is good. Why is 1 and 2? Why are you doing 1 and 2?
All right, Jack. So based on an official report that we built earlier and the scope of work, you explained to me that longevity is the most important on getting this project done.
Correct.
And that's why I gave you 4 options, right? I gave you the cheap, the entry level, the budget price, which you'll still get the job done, but eventually you'll have to redo your exterior in the next 2 to 3 years because it's curable deterioration, which means that your exterior will eventually start deteriorating because of the outside factors, the weather, the mildew, storms, whatever it might be, snow if you're up north. So the quality of the paint won't be as durable and last you as long. And then I gave you the higher up options with better grade materials and more coats, because if you saw on how I broke down the prices for you, each price has 1 coat and 1 top coat. And then the higher up levels, they have 1 primer coat and 2 top coats of higher grade, like the Emerald Rain Refresh or Duration, which are higher grade materials. That way we justify the price difference. We're not charging you extra for warranties, because a lot of times people, they think that we're charging extra for the warranty. No, it's not. We just can guarantee the product longer because we're using higher grade materials and more coats, which results to a longer lasting job. So that's number one. That's how I attack when they're like, oh, why is it so more expensive? Then the other objection is like, why are you so different than others? How do you respond to that objection? That's my favorite.
Depends on the context. So why are you so different than others? Can you give me like a scenario
So
example?
okay, I'm Jack. Now I'm the truck
You're
driver that
Jack. Do
yeah
your
you're trying to
voice.
sell. All right, so I'm like, okay, Carmelo. So so and so painting, they quoted me for one coat of primer and one coat of duration for 10,000, but you're at 13,000. Why are you so much more expensive?
So our package also includes an extra coat of the duration, and the reason for that is for that high quality product to be at its peak potential, you have to do two coats because it's the thickest in application out of all of our packages.
And what's my favorite thing to explain on that? Can you remember?
How we rate exterior grade paints is by how thick it applies on a two coat coverage. So super paint applies at 3 millimeters, and then duration, which is a step above, applies at 6 millimeters, which is double
So
the
I get very
coverage.
technical when Jack comes at me and he's like, "Oh, why are you so different?" Because I'm like, "Okay, I'm using the same products, but I'm also using an extra coat, which is more labor, more material." And then I hit them with the wet millage uh, definition that Carmelo gave and how much more thicker paint applies. And then also the spray and back roll. That's my favorite thing to explain to customers because a lot of painting companies for exteriors, we started exteriors because there are favorite things to sell. And then they're the most competitive things to sell because it's exterior paint. People don't see the value a lot. So it's the competition on it, it's very, very like aggressive.
And yeah, and homeowners see it as a very simple project.
Correct. And that's why I explained the wet millage, the multiple coats, and then I explained that spray and back roll is not two coats; it's actually one coat. Spraying and back rolling is an application technique. To get the millage build up, you have to let the coating cure, dry, and then you apply it. That's my favorite way to attack that objection that Jack has about why my price is so much different than so and so painting when we're using the same products.
Yeah, because I've seen in a lot of competitors, or even when we get this objection, they say, oh, they'll do two coats too. They'll spray and back roll. That's the first thing I say to them as well. Like, hey, spraying and back rolling is just one coat. It's not two.
It's not two. And that comes in with in the previous episode that we said you have to be an educator. You have to explain to the customer the processes to the T. That way they can understand. And then the process of downselling us, we go back and forth with the questions that we asked and then the objections that they came back to us. Then we're going to start. I don't like calling it negotiating much because I don't like negotiating my prices, but that's why we call it downselling because when you run at scale or even when you're a smaller company, you want to stay busy, right? You want to be able to keep your guys busy or you want to be able to keep yourself working. So every job, especially if it's a good prospect, we have ways to downsell them and then still get the job if we really like the customer as a customer and we really want the project based on personal, like we like them, we want to work with them, or if we need the project to fill in the calendar.
Back to Jack. So let's say I like all the, you handle my objection very well. I'm very happy to go with you, but I don't really, the price is not within my budget. So what can we do about it?
All right, Jack. Let's see what I can. Let me sharpen my pencil for you. Let's see what we can do. So we gave you four prices. We gave you 10,000 for the best package, and then we gave you 8,000, 6,000, 6,500 for the basic. So we have three prices. So the 10,000 package, that's way out of your budget, right?
Yeah, I'm looking more at the eight, but I really need some wiggle room there.
So what's your biggest concern about getting this project done, Jack?
My biggest concern, I would say, the longer it lasts, the less maintenance I have to do on it.
So let's say you got the silver package and then you had to repaint your house in the next 5 years. And then instead of that's the normal that we tell customers. But $10,000, let's say it lasts you 7 to 9 years. What would make more sense for you to do now? Spend an extra $2,000?
So I'm thinking of moving in 3 years at least. So I like the sound of the 5 years more.
Okay, so let's see what we can do for the $8,000 package. All right, parenthesis now. That's my first downselling point. I don't always try to take money away because again, we gotta hit our numbers. We have margins, we got bills to pay, guys to get paid. We don't skip corners. So I'm like, okay, Jack, there's not much room for me to cut corners on this project because I put my personal guarantee and my warranty on it, and I need to get the process done. But I'm willing to help you a little bit on the price if you can give me a badass review at the end, or after that, after you give me a good review, you give me 5 people that might be interested in my services. So when we do that, number one, we get 5 hot leads because Jack, he's gonna be happy. We help him save money, and then he'll reach out personally to those people. So they're gonna be referrals. So I'm like, here's what I can do for you, Jack. We're at $8,000 for the silver package, the mid level. So each lead costs me about $100. So if you give me 5, I can deduct $500, which is gonna be savings for me
Marketing
on the
wise.
marketing side. And then the one Google review because you're a nice person and you'll love the job that we're gonna do. How does that sound to you, Jack?
Okay, that sounds really good.
So let's say usually Jack will be like, okay, that sounds great. $500 is a good discount. But
On
I,
that slim chance that I'm like, can we do a little bit more, maybe?
all right. So,
On the
all
slim
right, Jack.
chance we get that.
So
How
we
much
have
more sharpening?
$500. So I'm at 75 right now. Let me see how much more I can sharpen my pencil. And depends on the scale you're running things. Let's say you're a smaller time. I have my secret weapon, which I'm gonna offer a cash discount to Jack. That's a good tool to have as well because cash discounts makes it easier to get things done. We're not gonna get into depth with that, but like, okay, Jack. So I'm at 7,500. Can you pay cash?
Yeah, I can get you cash.
So I'll knock out another $500 if we sign the contract today and get you on the schedule.
Sounds good. Let's get it done.
All right. So usually that's the best way to get it done. So you have your first, you ask Jack personally to give you 5 referrals, which they're gonna be hot leads because Jack is gonna sit there. He's like, okay, I have to give this guy. So you pretty much make him go to work for you. And those leads usually when we get customers refer us to their circle, they convert because they it's like a personal referral. Like they put their trust on them and then they give us somebody that they think they're gonna need, like their coworkers, their family, their friends, whoever. So that's a great way to get hot leads from a prospect. And then the cash discount. That's usually my second way to downsell without compromising a lot of my margins. And then let's say Jack is really a pain in the ass. And then
We've had a good relationship so far. What do you
so
mean?
do not say that to your customer, but let's say like they still can figure it out. And that's when you go to the drawing board. You already, before you went to the estimate, you already know your numbers. You already know where your bottom is gonna be. And then you start playing around. Okay. And then Jack, you really want to work with Jack. Jack is a good dude. So you're like, okay, Jack, $7,000 is not good for you too, even with a cash discount.
That's very rare, but let's say no, it's not good.
So let's say Jack, third objection, $7,000. My third price is not good enough for him. So what I'm gonna do now, after I use my most common incentives like the referrals, the Google reviews, or the like leaving
Cash
us a
discount.
cash discount, or leaving us an Instagram review or making a post on Instagram, then I'm gonna use my last downselling point for a customer that gave me 3 objections. I'm like, okay, listen to what I'm gonna do for you. So the mid package, it's 2 codes of duration. I'm gonna downgrade it. We're already $7,000. I'm gonna go at $6,800, but I'm gonna do 1 code of duration. That should last you 5 years. I'm taking 1 code away. I'm not just dropping the price with no reasoning. I'm taking something from Jack. I'm not making him just. I'm not just dropping the price. I'm taking something in return. So I'm gonna take 1 code of duration. I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna tint the primer, and then I'm gonna do 1 top code of duration, and I'll be able to help you in the price way more. How does it sound?
That sounds great. And on the off chance it doesn't, then
And
I
just
don't think.
walk.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything more you can do. That's
So that way, every step we took something, or we asked them to do something for us with the referrals, the reviews, the social media posting. If those usually work for us, but if you have to go to the next 2 levels, you have to take something back. That's That's when downselling ethically comes in, because the customer doesn't think that you're just trying to screw them and you just shot a crazy price and you're just playing a negotiating game with them. You're justifying each step down. That's for exteriors. It works out great for us. Usually on the second step, we usually lock in the deal.
Yeah. And back to downselling it ethically, if you just keep reducing the price, psychologically, the client will think, hold on, he's just reducing the price. So the
Yeah.
original price, he was going to stiff me.
He was trying to fuck me on
He
that
was trying to fuck me
original
over.
price.
Poor Jack.
So that's why we say downsell ethically. That's scenario number one. How else do we downsell? With a bundle link.
So if you do, let's say
Jack doesn't only want his exterior, he wants his interior cabinet, he wants epoxy floor, and he wants his backsplash done.
let's say I want to do all of that together. And so since you said 4 projects, let's say the total comes out to 42,000 on the mid package.
Jack has a big house, 42 Gs. Yeah. Okay. All right, Jack. So how are we going to present the price to Jack? 42K. We're going to itemize every single project. So interior, 13K, exterior, 10K, backsplash and tile. So we're going to itemize everything. Everything is going to be a line item. And then they're going to get a sticker shock, guaranteed. Also, they see it, like Jack is going to be like, holy smokes, that's a big, big price.
I could buy another house with that.
So we're going to be like, okay, Jack, we're going to ask him again the question, why do you think that is? And he'll be like, oh, that's so expensive. He's going to give us his objections. And then we're going to be like, here's what we can do for you. It helps us a lot when we have bundled up projects because we keep the crews busy there for like a week or two. And then that translates into a lot of savings for us, for logistics, driving to multiple projects, managing multiple projects. So what we can do for you, Jack, I know itemized price comes at $42,000, but if you're willing to get all your projects done with us at the same time, we can help you on the price significantly because you're bundling up services. How does that sound?
Okay. That sounds really good. What kind of numbers are we working with?
That question, how does that sound? It's very important because you want to get a positive reaction from your customer. And then respond again.
Okay. That sounds really good. What kind of numbers are we working with right now?
I'm like, okay, Jack, I'm at 42K. So let's say you do everything with me. I can give you a $6,000 discount. Is that something that you're willing to do?
Okay. Yeah, that seems fair. But for the script purposes, still think it's a little bit too high.
All right, Jack, I usually ask them if they're pushy like that, but like, okay, where do you need to be?
I feel as though I would be good around the 34,000 range.
All right. So then we're going to go back to the thing. We're going to ask Jack to do things for us. Like, are you willing to leave a review and give me 5 referrals on your close circle and refer us after you're 100% happy with the project that we did for you? And then reach out to those customers, ask them if they need anything done and help us set up some appointments.
Okay. Yeah, I could do that for you.
And
we
guys,
can do
don't be
34?
shy to ask that to your customers. They're always willing to give the referral fees. Like refer, if they get good service, you can help them out with the pricing. They're always willing to reach out, text the people, or even like post them on the story or make a social media post. Don't be shy to ask for those incentives. That way you can help your customer ethically reduce the price. All right, Jack, let's do it. 34K. I'll lock you in. And then I'll put on the terms like you're going to give us 5 referral fees, a good Google review after you're 100% satisfied with everything. And take it from there.
And then something else I might add is depending on, let's say Jack is just a single guy, probably never cooks, and we're doing his cabinets, and he's already at the mid tier package. I would just tell him, hey, since your kitchen is not really that active, if you want to be at 34, maybe we can do the 1K product, and that could be, I don't know.
That's a good
downselling, but not really taking anything, not too much away.
Yeah, because like he's a single guy, he barely uses his kitchen, and then like we mentioned in previous episodes, he doesn't need the most durable product, but he's just doing it strictly for aesthetics. So that's a good ethical way to downsell and reduce your prices from like the original price that you gave them.
And then one of my favorite lines when bundling things up, I was at a sales appointment with you when I learned that, but this line has just helped me out a ton. You're only going to be dealing with us. You don't have to be dealing with another contractor. So timelines fall on us, deadlines fall on us. So there's no miscommunication and everything just goes smoothly.
When you're bundling things, so
Hmm.
we handle everything from A to Z, and we take full responsibility for timelines not being met, for contractors not showing up, and then that builds a lot of trust to the customer. I like one bullet point that you have here: engaging with price sensitive customers. And Mitchell was dealing with it the other day that he was blowing up our text. So the lady just, we had one of our sales reps out on the field, and then she just went ballistic on him, like, "Oh, how are you so expensive? What the heck? I called around, nobody's so expensive," and then like kind of caught our sales rep off guard, and then he didn't know what to do. Which it happens. Sometimes we'll get price sensitive customers that they think that we're trying to screw them over. And then I like how you went there and then you got after he booked the job and then you went there and you justify the price. Tell us what you did.
So basically, I just reassured her about the whole process and who would be in charge of her project because Mitchell, I love him, but he's not really, an on the field guy. So the way
He's a sales rep.
the way he explains the process is not to the extent that you or I do. And that basically just reassured her that, okay, I'm spending a little bit extra money, but these guys are the real deal. And then showed her on the Instagram page because she wasn't really on Instagram. So like, here, this is me. And then we go a little bit back and forth. Like, yeah, all of our guys are in-house trained by me or my brother. So anybody that comes here will be just as like me or him
An
are spraying the
extension
project.
of ourselves.
Exactly.
So when you get price sensitive customers, and I made a note on this so you guys can use it for when you get them and they freak out on you, because it's often with us, we get people like, holy shit, are you serious? $4,800 for a kitchen cabinet job? You have to explain to them, you have to give them the value and you have to explain to them why it costs that much. Again, don't get defensive, don't get offended because the way they came at you, but put yourself into their position and be like, okay, I have to explain to them that it costs them that much because XYZ. And that's what my, again, all our sales rep, most of them, they're not technician, they were not technicians, so they don't understand the processes. That's why you have to have somebody, even it might be yourself if you're starting out business owner, you might be a technician or your painter, your crew leader. When you have price sensitive customers like that they freak out on you about the prices, or they think that you're trying to screw them over, always make sure you have a soft approach like Carmelo did with the lady, and then you explain to them like, hey, we're not Joe Smo that comes and paints your cabinets in your backyard. We have a process. All our guys are trained. They get paid top dollar, and that's true. All our guys make top money, and then we use the most expensive materials. Our process is seamless. We follow it to the T. All our guys are trained by us. They follow the SOPs. So that's why we're not gonna be the same as everybody else, but you're not gonna have any issues with that. The project is gonna get done seamless. And in case something goes wrong down the road, that's why we have our personal guarantee that no matter what, for the years that we warrant you, we're like pretty much married. We're gonna be there and we're gonna take care of everything that might have gone wrong.
The personal guarantee, I think it's like a knockout punch because I've
Yes.
started implementing that. And then just a recent example of a kitchen we just finished, but the handles were not in until 2 days after. But, we got to close our books on that project. So we wanted to get paid. But the lady was very weary of like, oh, I've had bad experience with contractors in the past of paying them early.
Mhm.
Told her, we, if you want, you could just leave something hanging, but our personal guarantee, it's lifetime. So even back in Michigan, an example, a kitchen that was maybe a few years after past warranty, they still had an issue, but you and I personally
Yep.
flew back up there to get it fixed.
Correct.
That's the extent that our personal guarantee goes to.
Yeah, because things will go wrong, and then we explain to the customer if something happens, we're there next day.
Yeah, and we want to do this lifetime. We want to be a name that's known around in our area.
And that's what comes next. And we explain that to our customers too. Building long-term customer relationships. When you downsell ethically, or when you hold up your end, and then you offer those incentives to the customers. You explain to them like, hey, I'm not just trying to get paid and leave. I want to be your painter for the next 10, 15 years. I want to be the guy that you refer to the next customer, to your family, to your friends, to your coworkers. You post about on your social media because you're so happy with the job that we did. It's not about just getting a check and leaving. For us, it's very important to create those long-term relationship with our customers, and that's why I explained to them like, hey, my personal guarantee, we're pretty much married. If something goes wrong, we're right there. We'll fix it. And then customers appreciate that. And then that's when they're willing to, and then that's when they understand also the downselling because, like, okay, I'm doing these things for these guys because they're willing to help me on the price. And then you make them not feel guilty, but I can't find the exact word. You kind of make them feel
Obligated?
obligated that they have to do that because you helped them on the price, you did all these things for them, you gave them a badass job. Now they feel obligated to do the things that you asked them to do. And then we never had anybody reject doing those things. Like we always get like 5 referrals. We don't even have to ask them. Like, okay, I talked to them. They set up the appointments for us. So we pretty much put them to work for us. That's
Without having them on a payroll.
without having them on payroll.
Perfect.
But we help them on the price. And then how downselling can reduce buyer resistance. One term that I like using, it's called anchoring. And that's why our sales system has multiple prices. We never can go in. So anchoring is like you throw your first price, the anchor lands, and then you start swinging the rope, trying to figure out which way there's gonna be less resistance from the customer to close the deal. Because right now, our sales process earlier was just a presentation and all that. Now we're getting to more in-depth sales training. Now we're getting to like closing. Because selling and closing, it's two different things. Selling is different, closing is different. Now we're getting more like, okay, now let's close a deal. And that's why we have all these incentives. A lot of times, I'd say 30% of the times we get our price and we have nobody negotiating, but 70% of the time we'll get some pullback. Nobody, like, people will need to get closed. Like, that's why we came up with all these systems. And then the best way to reduce buyer resistance is by how my brother does it. He offers a lot of value and he educates the customer on what to expect and what the process is. And then using those little, not tricks, but those little incentives that they're gonna bring down. Another one that I like offering, and then that's usually with, because there's a lot of social media now, it's huge. There's a lot of designers out there, there's a lot of people with big followings, there's a lot of businesses with big followings. So another way that I like downselling, and anybody can use it. You don't have to have a huge following for your business, but you can use it as an incentive to lower the price. And then we get that a lot in Miami. Miami has a lot of influencers and a lot of famous people. We use this method to downsell. So what we do is like we can cross promote. Let's say the project, we had to do this recently with a model down there. She has like 2.6 million followers, and she was getting her condominium apartment, whatever you call it, painted. So she has a huge following. So the price was 12,000, and we're like, okay, if you do X amount of posts for us, you put us on your stories, you say that precision was so great, you liked everything, we can lower the price. Don't ever negotiate the prices because a lot of those influencers or people with big followings out there are like, oh yeah, it's gonna cost $10,000 a post. No. So how we explain it to them and how we can discount the price is like, okay, one marketing campaign that cost me $1,000, I can reach out 100,000 people. Let's say you make 5 posts or like 5 story posts for us and you reach 100,000 people or 50,000 people, then we can lower the price by 1,000. I always like dropping the prices by 1,000 based on how much exposure they're gonna give us. And what I do is I don't give them the discount right away. We get the project done for full price, and then we're like, okay, you make your first post, we give them credit. So let's say the first post did well, they hold their their
End of the bargain.
end of the bargain. They're like, okay, for the 2 posts that you did, we send them $1,000 back in credit. I don't know, Venmo, cash, whatever it might be. Because you don't have like a legit contract, they might just stop posting, or they might just do a shitty post, and then you're not getting your return back. That's why I explain, like, hey, we'll charge you full price in the beginning. We'll we're ethically downselling them, and like, okay, we'll charge you full price, and then also, let's say we have a 3 month agreement or 2 month agreement or a month agreement, or like 5 posts, whatever it might be, then we'll send you credit back. And that has worked great for us. Or you can ask them like, hey, I used that one. The lady had like 800 followers, so it was a nice house. I really wanted the job, so I was like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. If you let me film content on your exterior project, and we use exclusive rights for advertising, our ads, and all that, we'll be able to knock down the price 2,500 bucks. And she was all for it. Did it make a difference for me? No, I was still gonna use the content, but I presented that way that, hey, you give us exclusive rights to use it for our advertisement, we can help you on the price. That's another way that you can ethically downsell. And it's gonna take a little bit longer if you stage a project. It's not gonna be as fast, and you explain to them like, hey, if you give me that like if you willing to do that, your project's gonna take a little longer, but the quality is not gonna get compromised. You're still gonna get the same results, same quality work, but it's gonna take a little bit longer because we're gonna be staging to film content for our ads and all that. People are all for it, man. They love seeing their houses going
Viral, they seeing
viral.
them in
Yeah,
ads. Yeah.
yeah. Like the container home that we did in Michigan. That job pretty much,
It's been
it,
on articles.
yeah, millions and millions of views. And then we did pretty much that job for cost. I don't think we made a whole lot of money on it.
And we're working ourselves.
And we were working ourselves. So we made some money because we were paying ourselves, but we gave those incentives because we knew the potential of exposure that that house could get us on social media, on our marketing campaigns. And once we did that house and we started running ads on it, it got us so much work because it was a crazy attention getting house.
Yeah, right on the main road, and
Yeah.
then just having the ability to flex, like, oh yeah, we did this house.
Exactly. Or a lot of the projects that we do down here too. So a lot of times when it's like a specialty project, we won't charge crazy prices because we're like, okay, we want the content for this job just so we can showcase our expertise, or like we can flex and say we did that project. So we express that to the customer. Hey, we're willing to help you on the price or do it for cost if we get the rights and stage the job and grab all the content. That's another great way to downsell when you're a painter. It works phenomenally for us. And then people appreciate it. And plus people love the whole process of like having people recording and like the befores and afters. It's like a little mini series for them, seeing their house getting transformed. So write that down, guys. Another great way to work with. They don't have to be crazy influencers, have millions of followers. Anybody, if they have a cool project, just work that deal with them and downsell them. That way you can get the house because the exposure that you're gonna get, it's gonna pay more dividends down the road than just making a couple back bucks from your profit margins.
Yeah, and
We're
back to
huge
that
on
container home, the owner hired us again for the staining every year that he did on the front of his house, his friends, because he had a
yeah.
big inner circle. So that pays huge
Then
dividends.
we got more people that were building containers and they wanted us to paint them because we already had the expertise. Plus, it was a black house, so it's not easy. And then that's the job that got us Churro's job
Yeah.
with another black
Another
house.
an influencer dog.
So there was this, what kind of dog is it?
It's an English bulldog.
So yeah, there was this fat dog that had like
Big bones.
60,000 followers on Instagram. Uh, And then that's how they saw us. They saw our ad doing the house all black, the container home. And they're like, oh, we want to do the same idea. And we worked another deal with them. Like, okay, you guys post us. And then the funniest videos. If you guys have been following us for a long time, you probably saw the videos of the dog chasing around my drone
Yeah.
and then like laying down. It was the funniest thing. We did that job for cost again, but the exposure that we got from it, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's still a staple in the Royal Oak, Michigan area because
Yeah.
it's like the tricorn black house. It's an all black house.
Yeah.
It's stained in the front. It's just phenomenal.
Beautiful house. So a lot of times, a great way to downsell when you're working with cool projects, just ask for the exclusive rights of the content and then do it for cost for them because it's gonna pay dividends. Doing something cool, you're not gonna make a lot of money up front, but you're covering your cost. But you strategically use that content from that cool project to blow up your brand and your social media awareness and run good social media ads.
I want to say another example of ethically downselling is I just thought of it recently and I've started using it and it's worked out pretty good.
Hmm.
Is so let's say a client doesn't really want to book urgently within 2 to 4 weeks, but they're looking for something later down the road. I offer them the incentive of like, okay, if you help me plug it in on the schedule for, let's say this week is empty for us, for one of the crews. If you help me plug it in here, I could get you, let's say, anywhere from 500 or 1,000 off or something like that. Just work something out, the numbers there. And it's been working out really good for us. We have I would say in the past 2 weeks, I've had 4 projects like that I've booked ahead, got a deposit on that day just to lock in that price.
Oh yeah. So that's a good alley oop you just gave me. So when we go into an estimate, we say our prices, and we put expirations on our prices. We say our prices are good for 2 to 3 weeks, just because how I'm doing an estimate right now, I have 6 other people doing estimates, and I'm doing myself at least 4 a day, and those people are doing at least 4 a day. So we keep a floating schedule. I don't know if have we talked about a floating schedule in the podcast
We
yet?
have.
Okay. So we keep a floating schedule. But because most of people, when they reach out, they're hot and ready to get it done. If they're flexible and then they're willing to help us schedule ahead, we can give them an incentive. And again, you don't want to schedule out too far. If you say they want to do it next year, I'll be like,
No,
okay,
no, that's too long. I would say the most 3 months.
yeah, the
The
most,
most.
the most.
Still, 2 months is a happy medium. 1 to 2
Or if they're
months.
not in a rush, be like, okay, we can keep it floating. And when we have an availability on a cancellation, we need to keep somebody busy. We can give you 48-hour heads up, and we make them agree to that 48-hour heads up, and then they're still good to go. And it's mostly good for exteriors and cabinets, which are less invasive. We can crank out those faster than like a full interior. And then we do the technique that Carmelo does, like, okay, we'll help you on the price because we don't have to spend marketing. We always spend marketing dollars, but we don't have to spend marketing dollars to book that week to hit our numbers. And then anywhere from 500 to $1,000 depends on the project size. That's a good ethical way to downsell because they're helping you out with your schedule, and then you're helping them out by saving them $1,000 because they're not in a big rush. I love that one. That's a great way to downsell. All right, moving on. Offering scaled back versions of products and services. You want to touch base a little bit on that?
So the best example I could give of that is when we sell cabinets, when we have the 1K and 2K products.
Hmm.
If they're still adamant about the pricing and even if their worry is, durability and all that, but they still don't want to pay for the 2K. I'm like, okay, the 1K is still great, but you just have to be very careful with it. And this is the incentive I'm willing to offer you. I can do let's say, let's do some pricing right now. 4,000 for the bronze, and then 48 for the silver, and then 56. This is just off the top of my head, random numbers. 62 for the platinum. Let's say, oh, you like the 2K, but you think it's expensive. Where would you want to be at? Somewhere around the bronze range. Okay, if you leave me a badass review, and then if you could recommend me to a friend or a relative that we could book their kitchen cabinet project, I can do the bronze package price for the silver. So I could get you upgraded to the 2K if you do these things for me. Leave
That's
me a
a
badass
that's
review and
another
then
good alley
recommend me
oop
to
he
another
just gave
cabinet.
me right there. So and then we did that the other day that we went to the house with
Oh,
Mac.
Mr. Mac,
So we did that.
legend.
We did it. I was not even trying to do it, but he just the the presentation went that way, and then the guy was in the board of directors for the whole HOA, and then we quoted him interior exterior. It was pretty steep. It was expensive. So I was like, here's what we're gonna do from you, Mr. Mac. We really want to work for you. We love your personality. You and your wife are phenomenal. You're great. We love you guys. You're amazing people. Since you're in the HOA board, you're the president, and then I see this neighborhood right here. Every single house needs painting. Why don't you get me at least 5 other projects, and then we can start working on the numbers so we can help you out a little bit, because the more crews I can have here at the same location doing multiple projects, my cost goes down. So I can translate those cost savings not only for you, but for the other 5, 6, 7 houses that they're gonna get the project done. Guys, I'm telling you, when I said that, his eyes like lit up. He was like, "Wow, you can do that?" I was like, "Absolutely, I'll do it for you, Mr. Mac." And then the guy just went on, and then 4 days go by, He has 6 other houses for us. So now we're like, okay.
You put him to work.
I literally put the guy to, but they were amazing people. I kind of felt bad, but like again, we have to hit our quota and prices. So I'm like, Carmelo, how can we help those people? And then I just on the spot, I was like, here, since you're the president of the HOA, do this for me, man, and we'll help you all in the price. They were amazing people. And then he's getting us more projects. We're gonna give everybody a discount, bundled discount for all the exteriors there, and then everybody's winning. Our crews are gonna stay busy with 7 exteriors in the same location. Everybody's gonna get a discounted price, and then we get to work with amazing people. By downselling, we downsell our price significantly for that project, but we're gonna make our numbers on the other ones, and everybody gets a discount. Utilizing limited time promotions, we don't do any promotions since we started in the business.
They haven't really worked out well for us,
They
to be
haven't really
honest
worked
with you,
for
when you do the either 10% off or
and
$500.
and the reason is because you don't have menu pricing, so it's not like you go on your website or you have a menu of all your prices. So when I see ads, and then I see a lot of marketing agencies using that as a method, like, oh, get 20% off your exterior or interior. Like, how am I getting 20% off? You can just use random numbers and then make it seem like I'm getting 20%. It's like the Black Friday sales. Like those memes that they're like, okay, this TV is like 599.
It was 629
Yeah, and
two
then
days
they
ago.
increase their prices the next day, and then they do like Black Friday sales. I'm like, customers will pick up on the stupidity of that. I would hope they do. Like, you cannot offer 20% off on exteriors or cabinets or interiors because you don't have menu pricing. It's not like your prices are posted somewhere. Every project is different. So we don't really do limited time promotions, or like, I hate seeing ads. So like such a waste of money, like when painting companies run ads or like 20% off exterior.
It just
Like,
seems very untrustworthy
yeah.
because every logical person would think, oh, this guy he's just gonna add that 10% and then just reduce it. So
Literally, and that's what everybody does.
yeah.
Like, how can you? It's not like you're selling a car and like, oh, 20% off. It's you're gonna inflate the price, and then you're gonna make it seem like you're giving 20% off. Like, and we've run those ads. Those ads did horribly, and like every time we gave somebody 20% off, I never got those jobs. Especially in the beginning when we're still trying to figure things out. And then we're giving like 15% for exteriors, or like book your. I remember I was running this one ad in Michigan: book your exterior before the season starts and get 30% off.
Oh my days. Would have
So,
been working for pennies. Good thing we didn't land
so
anything then.
uh, yeah, I mean, I got some leads, but none of them closed because I would tell them $10,000 for the exterior. And I'm making like, oh, okay, 30% off, 3,000. So the customer would probably be like, okay, is he really giving me a discount? That's why like the limited time promotions, at least from our personal experience and like our consulting clients, they don't work. Don't waste your marketing dollars for those kind of promotions, because like you said, you're gonna come out as slimy, and then people are gonna be like, are they really giving me a discount? Plus, you don't want to be discounting your services. I think that's another psychological little thing, that why would I want to go with somebody that discounts his services? Is he gonna cut corners? Is he gonna screw me over somehow?
Or is he slow for a reason?
Or oh, that's another. Oh, that's a good alley oop again. When you run those ads, you kind of seem desperate. At least me as a consumer, when I see those ads, I would not hire the people that are running 15, 20% off, because I'm like, okay, why are they running? Why are they discounting services? Are they slow? And then are they slow for a reason? They don't have enough business? Again, it's like those psychological traits, like we pick up subconsciously. And if you're an aware consumer, you'll pick up on those things. And then the good prospects, the good leads, the hot leads, they won't reach out at you.
So I want to ask you, what's your favorite go-to line when downselling any project? So what's your main line?
My favorite line.
Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna start off if you just to give you a little bit of time to think. But since mostly I do the cabinets, I like using this trick of going from the gold to the silver package if they leave us a review, and it's been working very well for me.
Okay.
And usually our gold to silver package, the difference is not that much, so it helps us out on that end.
My favorite line when I'm downselling is using the social media as my tool. Like, hey, if you let me grab all the content from your project, and then it's gonna take a little bit longer, but you're still gonna get the same quality, I can I can give you X amount in savings. And that one I don't think I've had a job that hasn't agreed to that yet.
I've never used that yet, so I think I'll just
Yeah, maybe
try to
try it
use it on
out
the
on the
next
next
ones.
one. So I haven't had one that has rejected that yet. So that's I would say that would be my favorite. And then I mean the cash discount.
Degen currency.
Yeah, the degen currency. I mean, we're
It's
not gonna
nice.
get really into that, but yeah, cash discounts and then the social media are my two favorite lines, and I haven't failed on those yet, so I just keep using them. And I would love to for you guys after you listen to this episode to try them out, and then just send me a DM on Instagram and let me know how that went for you. Because I've been getting a lot of people they were like using the sales process, and then they've been closing like crazy. So I'm curious to see if you're using some of those closing techniques that we have, how that translates into your sales process.
And I really think downselling has really all the customers that come from downselling a project, they've been very satisfied and the retention rate is just
Yeah,
immense.
yeah.
And I think it goes back to the you caring about their wants and needs and trying to accommodate them and also get the project done.
And then I like on the notes that you put here, communicate value effectively
Mhm.
because you're spending an extra step to give even more value and justify your price even more. So you went through your sales process, you did your educating and your value, and you presented everything the right way. But now they gave you the objection, so you're going the extra mile to really get technical, really reassure them, really get to the point where like, okay, these are the guys that I want my project to get done. And then most of the customers that we've did that, they always were a great referral partner. They always recommended us, or like they did like badass social media posts. They put it on the stories, or like they'll go and comment. You guys can go on our social media highlights and then click the reviews, and you can. We have hundreds of them. They're like people commenting, people tagging us on their stories, special designers, like all those customers that we downsold. They've been great referral partners and they've been great customers. And then we still have a great relationship with a lot of them.
Yeah, they still even comment sometimes out of
Yeah.
their own free will.
Yeah.
They're that satisfied.
Yeah. So downsell, we took a little bit of a hit on our profit margins, but we invested in a long-term relationship with those customers. And then we never had an issue with them. They've always been great. And then again, we make them work for us pretty much. We make them brand ambassadors. So yeah, focus on building relationships over immediate sales. That's a great punchline. I'm gonna read it again. Focus on building relationships over immediate sales. So choose when you strategically can downsell and choose what the outcome will be. And then also calculate what the LTV lifetime value is going to be by you downselling or compromising immediate sales and profits. What is it going to bring in return a year down the road, 6 months down the road? Because I'm assuming if you're listening to this podcast, you're in business for the long run. You're here to stay and you want to build a successful business. So you have to flip your mindset and start thinking not of the immediate gratification, but what can I do to help my customer? But also, it's going to help my business in the long run. And I'm going to give you guys one last tip on how to downsell on your follow ups. That's my favorite way to downsell on the follow up. So, a lot of times we'll go into estimates. A lot of times we don't close the estimates on the spot, which I'm sure a lot of you don't too. So, we have the 3 touches of the follow ups. If we really want the project, or if we really want to like fill in the schedule, we're gonna start downselling the same way that we downsold with Jack, the truck driver earlier, uh, through text or through the phone, and we're gonna be reaching out to leads that we already quoted, but like, okay, Mrs. Homeowner, I have an opening in June, second week of June, and I really need to fill it in. I know we quoted you for $8,000 for your exterior. Would I be able to earn your business if I gave you a $1,500 discount? That will help me fill my schedule. And then most of the time when we follow up like that with them, we either get the job or they'll go like, oh, I need to be. So it'll be like a back and forth game. But once, because there's a lot of money left on the leads that you didn't follow up. So that's a great way to downsell them and fill up your calendar when you start doing things at scale. I love that way. Like, hey, help me fill out my schedule and then I'll help you with the price. And then maybe they'll be like, oh no, you're still too expensive, or I went with somebody else, which is obviously very common. But maybe they didn't, and now you're making your follow up, you're making another touch with them, and you're coming in with like, hey, I can help you save money if you can help me fill in my schedule, keep my guys busy. Great way to downsell through text and through your follow up process, because we always recommend doing at least 3 touches with a lead or a booked appointment after you left the appointment.
Yeah, you basically resurrect that lead out of basically, nothing.
Yes.
So touch points and then the follow up is very key, especially when it comes to downselling.
Yeah, and if you have to downsell to get the sale or get the calendar filled, that's the best way to do it. And then you only do it one time, because if you do it repeatedly and you keep dropping your price and you keeping annoying, then you're being annoying. So always follow up, number one. And number two, if you really need jobs, there is gold into your appointments that you did. You can downsell and keep the calendar busy from that.
And I would say most of my appointments, maybe 30 to 33% is you have to psychoanalyze the customer, see if this is a customer that you can downsell or they need to be downsold.
Correct.
Most of your customers don't need to be downsold. Either they're going to be set on your price or they might be too far apart from you.
Yeah.
So you need to read those signs, basically.
That's way more advanced sales training. Again, it's a repetitions game. The more you do, the better you'll become. So like Carmelo said, you need to like analyze your customer. You need to pick up on their body language. You need to do a lot of reps of appointments so you can become a better sales rep. And then like we said before, you have to audit yourself. So the more reps you do, the more audits you have to do yourself to see what worked, what went wrong, why did you get the job, why didn't your downselling work, why your follow-up sucked, why the customer told you to go fuck yourself. All these things, you have to keep auditing yourself. And plus, you need to keep repeating. You have to keep doing appointments. That's how you become a better salesman. These are just basic principles that if you gave them to me when I first started in the business selling paint jobs, you could have given me all this blueprint. And I would have not been as good as I am now because I didn't have the experience under my belt. I didn't have enough repetitions. These principles, follow them, but go out there and get your own reps and then tweak them. Tweak them to your own personality, based on your market, based on the kind of customers you're dealing with. It's a lot of factors at play in that we could spend years trying to like put them all down in paper. And just if you're gonna be a good salesperson, you'll be able to recognize those patterns with the customers, and you'll be able to recognize the customer needs and how you have to treat every customer differently.
The ability of downselling, do you think it falls more under the category of closing? Because you said selling and closing are two different
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
Even though it says downselling, I personally would think that falls more into the closing
This is
category.
definitely closing. We're not selling anymore. Now we're closing deals. Now we're trying to put money in the bank. So we did our selling on the previous episode. We taught you guys how to sell yourself, how to sell your business, how to sell your product. Now, because you can be an amazing salesperson, I see that a lot. I see that a lot with our reps. I see them, they're amazing, phenomenal salesperson, communicators, but they suck at closing. Now this is specialized knowledge and methods for you to put money in the bank. Because you can be an amazing salesperson, but if you're not putting money in the bank, then what the heck?
I will say in the very beginning, I was just like that. I was really good at selling, but I wasn't really good at getting
Horrible
into the
closer.
closing table.
Oh my God, I would get pissed
I-
at my brother because
Yeah.
I would give him so many estimates. I'm like, where's the check? He was an amazing salesperson, and I think it's because you're shy. You're shy to have those
It's just the interaction of
Yeah.
okay, give me money. the
It's-
interaction
yeah.
of giving, but that's what you got to do.
No, 100%. And I see it. I don't want to mention any names of our sales reps because they're gonna get pissed, but I see it with them too. They're amazing. They go through all these scripts that we give them, the process, the people love them. And then I'm like, where's the money? They're shy. That's the thing. It's having those difficult conversations with your customers. And talking money to your customer, it's a difficult conversation.
Mhm.
It's like you're shy. So I think once you pass that limitation,
That hurdle, essentially.
the hurdle, then you turn to a savage.
Yeah, don't be timid about talking money
100%.
because right now I've booked projects that are 2 months later down the road and I already got a 50% deposit, which
Literally.
in the very beginning, I don't think I could have ever done that.
No. No, because
I was like, no, it's okay. Give me the money later.
or you'd you'd finish a project. I'm like, did you get paid? Like, I'm like, ask for the money. And it's not only us. And I had the same thing. I was shy to talk money with a customer. It was a difficult conversation, but you have to have those difficult conversations. And don't be scared to talk money right up front.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to save the money. They want to save money, get a good product, or if they can afford it or not. It just don't be shy talking money. And then once you overcome that hurdle, which I'm sure a lot of you out there have it, then you're gonna be a killer, literally. And I've seen it with myself first of all, because in the beginning I only handle estimates, and then I've seen it with my brother because he would be a great salesperson, but he would not produce results because he would not talk money. And then once he overcame that, then just a killer. And now we're having issues with our sales reps, and we're trying to overcome. So it's like a cycle. The more you grow, the more you scale, the more people you're training. It's always the same thing. It's like they're shy. That's it. Anything else you want to add?
No, I just really wanted to emphasize on that selling to closing
All right.
difference. And
All right, guys. So yeah, go out there, copy all our systems from this episode, and don't be shy. Talk money with your customers. Have the difficult conversation with your customers, and let us know how you went.
let us know how downselling went for you.
Yeah.
Use it on your next few appointments.
Yeah, use the downsell on your next few appointments, or go on your follow-up list and then do some downselling repetitions there. Try and get some jobs in the books from booked appointments that you did and you haven't heard back from them. And let us know how it went. So that will wrap up this episode of the Dirty Painters podcast.
Be sure to follow our business on Instagram at Olympian Painting, and also our personal pages, Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Karmelo, and also the Dirty Painters podcast.
And guys, if you like this episode, be sure to share it with a fellow painter or tradie. Until next time, this is Redion,
And I'm Karmelo.
signing off on the Dirty Painters podcast. Thank you, guys.
Take care.